Welcome into another edition of Hit 'em High, presented by King's Mark Cabinets, alongside Eagles legend Seth Joyner. With Everett Terry, I'm Scott Seidenberg, welcoming in another special guest to this week's episode, former Eagle Trey Thomas. And I promise I'm not going to get into Willie Taggart's firing at Florida State, because I know it's a sensitive subject, and I'll fire him up.
It's not a sensitive subject for me. He wasn't getting the job done. You know, I mean, it is what it is.
We are coming to you live from Parks Casino, reminding you to share this episode because sharing is caring. For every share that you guys do on social media, we donate $1 to a great cause. We had the Malcolm Jenkins Foundation a couple of months ago, Big Brothers Big Sisters last month. This month, we are picking the Help Us Adopt organization. So for every share, we're going to donate $1 to the Help Us Adopt organization. We're going to have Courtney Lawless, one of their founding board members, to come on and talk about what that organization is in a little bit. So be sure to share this episode. And your comments and questions on Facebook will be read live here on this show. So you contribute as much as we contribute to this show, Hit 'em High, presented by King's Mark Cabinets. Guys, the Eagles found their groove. 2 wins now after some lopsided losses. Can we say that everything's okay in Eagles land, Seth?
No.
Okay.
My man.
You know, a win is a win, and that's the most important thing. But how you win is indicative of future performances. And you can't look at that game and look at Mitchell Trubisky yesterday and look at how they were dominating their defense, this vaunted defense, and feel good about what you saw on the field yesterday. You know, the Eagles came out, 2 12-play drives. They get down inside the 10-yard line, and then Doug Peterson wants to get cute instead of continuing to do the things that got them to where they were and punching the ball in the end zone and having it 14-0 rather than 6-0. That's a major concern. You look at the defensive side of the ball. Played stellar football the first half. Held the Chicago Bears to 9 yards total.
Yep.
Total. I mean, that's the lowest amount in the last 32 years that they've held an offense to throughout the first half. And then all of a sudden, you got Mitchell Trubisky with 1 foot in the grave and 1 on the sideline. You know, not sure whether he wanted to jump in the coffin or whether he just wanted to go to the bench and put a hoodie on and act like Jay Cutler over there the rest of the day. And they decide to allow him to gain some confidence and all of a sudden turn things into a football game. It just makes no sense to me. Doug got cute, got away from the run game in the second half. They come out in the second half, they go 4 runs, 4 passes, march right down the field, score a touchdown. They're in great position, and then all of a sudden he decides he wants to throw the ball on every play and pad, Carson's stats or something of that nature. Conversely, not playing complementary football on the defensive side of the ball, we stopped doing the things that we were doing in the first half. No more pressure on a Mitchell Trubisky that's just waiting to throw somebody an interception. We start playing zone. We start playing these crazy coverages, and all of a sudden, boom, he hits Gabriel down the field, for a big play. Next thing you know, it's game on, and they've got to fight throughout the third and fourth quarter to figure out a way to win a game that should have been over at halftime.
Definitely a story of 2 halves, Trey.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you do go back off that game, I mean, just to piggyback off what Seth was saying, I mean, this was a game that we should have gone out and dominated. This was a team, when you look at this team and why you don't feel good about it, it's kind of like the Jets game again, where the offense, you came out of the Jets game looking at the offense like, I didn't feel good about that win, but the defense went out there and put some points on the board for you. But this is the same type of thing. When you come out of the game with only 2 scores, and this was a team, I know our defense came out and he dominated Trubisky, but then, too, you had an offensive line that was struggling as well. So, the strength of this team going into this game, you knew it was going to be the defense. You knew that going up against Khalil Mack and company was going to be the challenge. Having Dillard, a rookie, going out there and having to stand up against a big-name guy, his first major test to the game. And you just see how, like you say, Doug got a little cute at times. I felt like he got way too cute. When you're going into halftime, you only got 20-something seconds left on the clock. What the hell are you doing, man? Go ahead and run the ball. Let's get on out of there. Go ahead and get on out of there. What are we doing? You scramble, and then you have 3 incompletes, and then you run a draw to Sproles. What are we doing? I think that they made too many decisions going into this season where you made decisions based off your attraction to the players instead of going ahead and making business decisions and cutting some weight where you can go ahead and really help this team and put this team in position.
So, a couple of things. Number one, this is probably going to be the easiest show I've done because I agree 100% with these guys, and I don't know how often I get to say that.
You
First
just happy
of all,
because the Dolphins won yesterday.
and that too. Listen,
That's good. I'm glad they won. Let's
listen,
pull one
there
off.
it is,
There
baby.
you go.
And we beat the sorry bleeping Jets in the process.
That's
Sorry,
all right.
Scott.
You get a win.
Listen,
A win is a win.
Yeah,
why
everybody
not?
beating the Jets these days. But let's start off at the very top. 100% agree. Number one, the Eagles were too cute. They didn't do what works. We've talked about this for weeks after weeks after weeks. Doug, do what works. You look at the top team in the NFL. When the only unbeaten's left, the San Francisco 49ers, they run the football, they play defense. The Eagles have done it, they've won. They get away from it, they struggle, or they look like crap. You are throwing to the brothers and sisters of any school that you want to out there, wide receiver. Alshon Jeffrey looks like he doesn't want to play football or he's banged up. DeSean Jackson came in, played one series, and stepped off the field. You passed on Josh Gordon for God knows what reason. He was out there for nothing but money. And you didn't want to go and get Antonio Brown. He's sitting out there. So you're basically saying we trust Matt Collins to be out there as a body on the field to do nothing but block. He got one look, and it wasn't really a look, okay? Why is he starting when you've got a second-round pick in J.J. Arcega-Whiteside who does not see the field? He had the one drop, and he has not touched the field since. I don't understand it. I still don't understand it. Meanwhile, DK Metcalf, who the Eagles passed on, is out there lighting it up. A kid who hit all the measurables in tape. But people say, oh, he's a little raw, we don't know. But he's out there playing in Seattle and says, you know what, here's an opportunity for me to be a starting wide receiver, and I'm going to take it. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside either doesn't want it or doesn't have it, or the Eagles don't believe in him. But either way, you're not going to beat good teams with the performance you saw yesterday. Defense played okay, took their foot off the gas in the second half. But offensively, this team has a lot of deficiencies and a lot of holes, and it's going to show itself ugly when you play a team like the Patriots.
Can I say that the DeSean Jackson activation yesterday was the stupidest move by the Philadelphia Eagles?
But you saw the importance, got pass interference on the first play. You saw the importance of having him out there.
I don't care, man. I do not care. Listen, you haven't had this guy since week one, okay? You've admitted publicly that he's going to have to deal with this issue the entire year. You got a bye week coming up that allows you 2 extra weeks of healing and resting and strengthening of this area. Why would you put him out there yesterday? For what?
Yeah.
For what?
I was kind of, at first I was okay with it if you're going to have him out there. Because I think you put him out there because really, hell, this going up against Chicago wasn't a guaranteed win.
Agreed.
This was going to be.
If you look at the way Chicago has played defensively, they haven't been the Chicago that everyone has projected them to be.
No, absolutely.
Okay? That's the first thing. Okay? We knew that we could run the ball on them. The problem was going to be.
I don't know, sir.
Listen,
I mean, you looking at these.
No.
When you go back and you look at the Buffalo game, you can say, all right, yeah, you can run the ball on. Because, Buffalo was 3rd in the league when it came to stopping the run. And then you go and look at Chicago, they're 6th in the league. So you say, all right, then we can go out there and run against anybody. But, man, if you're going to bring him in there, I say, all right, you know what, get him, see how he does. If he's okay, all right, cool. If not, get him out of there.
But the contradictory part of it is when you listen to Doug in his press conference, and I like to listen to the fine details of what he says, okay? Yeah, Zach's numbers were up. His targets were up because we felt like we could win in that area. Well, you need DeSean for them.
Yeah.
If you got 2 top-flight tight ends, why are you going to bring this guy back if he's just going to be the reason why you make him play 2 high safeties, okay? And you know what? After I thought about it last night after the post-game show, okay, in the first half, D-Jack was out there. Clearly the plan was to play 2 high safeties because they didn't know whether he was going to be 100% or not. So we're not going to let this guy beat us deep, so they played 2 high safety. With a 7-man box, yeah, we ran the ball down their throat in the first half. Ran it down their throat into the second half, okay? Yeah. In the second half, they decided, okay, we need to drop an extra guy in the box.
Yep.
So then when Doug Peterson said, okay, with 8 guys in the box, 9 guys in the box, okay, we can't run the ball, let's throw the ball. So then he got pass happy. Instead of continuing to impose his will on that front that was struggling against the run to begin with, and then schematically figuring out ways to run against an 8-man front. You can run against an 8-man front, run away from the defensive end on this side, leave him unblocked, let him start chasing. Now you can bootleg and do all these other things off of it. Now you got man-on-man across the board. And if you got man-on-man hitting it downhill in between the tackles, you can still get 3, 4, 5 yards of carry.
And that's all you need.
It just didn't make any sense to me. No sense whatsoever to activate DeSean Jackson yesterday with 2 more weeks of rest. You did not need him to win that football game yesterday because he was not a factor in those couple of plays that he played.
Well, whether they thought that he was going to be able to go the distance or not, the fact that they did activate him, the fact that they put him out there to start the game has got to give you some sort of confidence that the training staff knows that he's going to be ready to go at some point this season, especially after the bye, because they
limited all week last
but they
week.
didn't go out and claim a guy like Josh Gordon.
He was not full tilt. Not one single practice last week.
Maybe that's a part
he was
of the
limited all week. And if a guy is limited in any capacity, you cannot count on that guy to be healthy for 60 minutes.
And I don't think they were going to have him to go 60 minutes anyway. I think there was going to be
Doug said the expectation was for him to play 60 minutes.
But nah, man, you can't have him out there for 60 minutes. I think you limit that exposure and get him in and get him out of there just to see where he is so that you can go into the bye week knowing how to game plan, saying, all right, we're getting ready to go, because you're about to get ready to go up against New England. You're going to need to put together a game plan. You need to know if you can factor DeSean Jackson into what you're going to have to do, because you know you're going to have to come out there and run the ball. You better have somebody that can at least thin out that box.
If that was the plan, to bring him out in a limited capacity, and that's contrary to what he said, okay, then I don't have a problem with it. If today he's no better off, no worse off than he was before the game started, okay, and it was just a look and see to see where he is, I don't have a problem with that. But if he re-aggravated that injury,
then that's a problem.
He re-hurt himself yesterday, that was the stupidest move in all of football yesterday.
I'll say this. So the DeSean thing's a little funny because I think, honestly, the Eagles had no idea he was going to be out as long as he was, or they would have just IR'd him. The fact that they left him out there kind of week to week, not really knowing if he was going to play or not, he elects not to have whatever surgery it was he wanted to have because he's kind of went through his whole career without major surgery. I get it. But that's where Howie Roseman needs to step in and say, you know what? We don't know if we're going to get this guy back or not. We're hoping, we're crossing our fingers. The only game you saw him be a factor in was the Redskins game, and that was the only game that he actually had an impact on the game, and it wasn't until the second half. So we're not going to act like DeSean was this all-world beater who's been helping them win games throughout the course of this season. He hasn't. To Seth's point, if he's not going to be able to give you the contribution you need from him, there's no point in having him on the field. But that's why it's even more imperative. You look at guys like Emmanuel Sanders, who was traded, Mohamed Sanu, who was traded, Josh Gordon, who's sitting out there. These are guys they could have had for nothing that come in, and now if you cut Mac Hollins, so what? He's not doing anything anyway. But put a guy out there that Carson can even look at as a wide receiving target. Because what it does is, and you've talked about it, you take what the offense likes to do away. You know, Doug likes to throw. You know, he already doesn't have a weapon to throw to when DeSean is out. So all we got to really do is stop Alshon Jeffrey, who has a case of the dropsies all of a sudden, and Zach Ertz, who ain't been getting the ball anyway. That's really it. And now it limits the offense.
Let's be frank, though, okay? The only guy that they were ever probably going to consider or would have considered bringing in here was Emmanuel Sanders. Josh Gordon and Antonio Brown, they have no shot. They have snowball's chance in hell of ever being picked up by this football team, by this organization. This ain't going to happen.
And let me ask you this. What's the number one reason? Because they're off the field character?
Antonio Brown.
Oh, yeah, Antonio Brown, I could see. But Josh Gordon?
It's off the field issues and how guys fit into what you do.
And also,
they're just not going to do that, man. They're really self-righteous when it comes to stuff like that.
I can't argue that when they got Terrell Owens. I can't argue that. They went and got a guy who we knew was a character.
But this is something.
They're not making that mistake.
This is a character issue, though. This is.
Josh Gordon smokes weed. Okay, I get it.
No. It ain't. They say like it's a little bit more intense than that at times. He's had his issues. So it's something that you have to be extremely careful
with. His availability is questionable at best. And then he leaves New England in pure New England fashion. Then the reports come out that he hadn't been working as hard as they were. It's just it's too many issues there. Listen, I like where he ended up because a guy like Pete Carroll gonna put his arm around him and he's gonna try to figure out.
Got a good relationship with Russell too.
He's gonna try to figure out, okay, how can I help this guy? But a lot of organizations look at it like, hey, the juice ain't worth the squeeze, man.
Especially if Bill Belichick don't want a guy.
Yeah,
that should be a red flag.
When Bill Belichick says, you know what, we can go, they've gotten everything out
but
of
their first round is coming back off an injury, and once they made the trade for Mohamed Sanu, because of the injury, Josh Gordon, and then you got your number one coming off an injury. I guarantee you, he'll be active. He'll be activated next week. These moves are being made in that manner, and then if you don't come in and you don't buy into the Patriot way, and and he's been there long enough to have bought in, then his time, he's a dead man walking.
Here's a comment from one of our listeners or watchers on Facebook. Lynette DeShields wants to know, was the DeSean Jackson thing maybe a scare tactic, knowing that they weren't going to use him to a full capacity, but forcing the Bears to game plan against them?
Yeah, that's what we talked about. We said if that's why he did it, then yeah, I mean, it's chess instead of checkers. Could it be perceived that way? Yeah. I mean, did it change the outcome of the game? Not from what we saw.
Not especially when you only ran like 2 or 3 plays.
I think in the first half it definitely had an effect because when you looked at the box, and I saw it right out the gate. My take pregame was okay. Make DeSean prove to us defensively, okay, that he's 100%. I'm not altering my game plan until he proves to me that he's 100%. Now, once he proves to me that he's 100%, okay, now we're going too high safety. But they went too high safety out the gate all day long, okay? And then Doug Peterson made the decision, all right, if you're going to give us a 7-man box, we're going to run the ball. And that's what they did.
Yep.
And they did it effectively.
Let me ask you this question. How much of this Eagles win was more the fact that Mitchell Trubisky flat out stinks? We've seen the Eagles get after teams that have weak quarterback play. We saw it with Eli Manning. We saw it against whoever the heck was playing for the Redskins at that point. I mean, but when you see teams with solid quarterback play, Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins, the Eagles struggle. Now they're coming into a stretch where they got Russell Wilson and Tom Brady. Tom Brady ain't what Tom Brady was, but Russell Wilson is playing at an MVP level right now with a bunch of guys that are third receivers at best on most rosters. Those two guys, based off of the quarterback play, are going to have the ability to exploit the weaknesses in the secondary. My question is, based off of what we saw with Trubisky and how they even gave him, like you said, a glimpse, letting him throw a deep ball to Taylor Gabriel, how much of that is, do we worry about the fact that, hey, when they play better quarterbacks, they better have a different game plan to what we've seen? Or are we going to expect that this defense is going to give up 35 points in the plan from behind?
There's always a different game plan based upon the quarterback that you see. Yeah. There's just no doubt about it. If you go back and you look against the Jets and the backup quarterback, they had 10 sacks. Okay.
Then you had a garbage offensive line too.
Yeah. Against the Bills, I think they had 3 or 4 sacks.
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm trying to remember their record. Who did they play?
Yeah, I got
you. They played someone else during this 4-week span. Okay. Who they had 3 sacks against. They had 4 sacks against Dak. That's the Cowboys. Yep. You're going to raise your level against the Cowboys, even though I don't think they raised it enough. And then yesterday they played against a Mitchell Trubisky. And it's like, you got him.
They're going backwards on every possession.
But my point is that, my problem is with the Eagles defense. I'm aggressive by nature. So from my perspective, I think that, you have to bring pressure in order to make quarterbacks uncomfortable. If you let guys like Kirk Cousins sit in the pocket and feel comfortable, they can beat you. No matter what you think about them, guys like that can beat you, okay? So the Eagles came out yesterday and they pressured Mitchell Trubisky early and they rattled him early. Yep. And then they backed off. Listen, if the situation dictates itself that I can get my hand around your throat, I'm gonna choke you until I choke you out. I'm not gonna let you tap out and let you come back. I'm gonna choke you all the way out. So why would you push back against a guy like Mitchell Trubisky and ever give him an opportunity, give him a thought in his mind that he can succeed and play well? And that's what they did in the second half. They backed off. You never back off.
One of the things I've noticed, and it's good that I can sit up here and talk to you about this, like when it comes to them pressuring, when they're sending the blitz, to me it seems like they don't know how to rush when they do blitz. You know what I'm saying? So they come up there and they start stutter stepping instead of having a plan when you're attacking the offensive lineman or whatever. It seemed like Scandrick was the only one that knew once he came off the edge how to work a pass rush move. You even seen when Malcolm Jenkins comes up there and he runs dead into the center of a guard or whoever it is, instead of actually attacking the edge where you chop the outside hand and at least I'm looking at it as it's death by 1,000 paper cuts where you're constantly getting some type of action around the quarterback instead of it being something where you run right down the middle of an offensive line. To me, it looks like they don't know how to rush when they do send.
Let me ask you a question. So when you got drafted, you came into the NFL, you had talent, right? What was it that took your talent to the next level? Coaching.
Exactly. But that's coaching. That's what I'm saying.
Coaching.
That's what I'm saying.
So now you got linebackers that can't rush. You got DBs that have no rush. Okay, and then you're not creative enough on the scheme wise. Okay, to understand how they're going to protect and how to take advantage of the protection.
They don't pay attention to the point of the center.
No.
And they don't understand which side is slide. They don't understand which side is man. They run games just to run games.
They got a game plan set and they got a blitz set. And they run that blitz against whatever front it looks like. You can't game plan that way. Your blitzes have to be tailored to the protection, and you got to be, as a play caller, you got to be anticipating, oh, I'm going to get slide protection. I'm going to get man protection. You got to anticipate that stuff. So now when you bring a pressure, especially if you go
you
zero
want to force
coverage,
the issue.
especially when you go zero coverage, you bring a guy wide open. Okay, now the other thing is you got to have coaches on your staff also that have the ability to teach linebackers how to rush. Okay, how do I get by a running back that's standing right there? Am I going to bull rush him? Am I going to swim him? Am I going to button jerk him? You know, am I going to rip him? You know,
you got to do something.
They just run right down the middle, like the guy ain't even there. Sometimes I see guys run up in there, and it's like the running back is standing there, and he cuts him. I'm like, did you see him?
They go to stutter stuff.
Did you think he was just going to let you just run right through him like he Casper the Ghost or something?
I think what you're seeing with the Eagles, and we all know there's two ways to get to a quarterback, right? Talent and scheme. There's no Joey Bosa on this team. There's no, not even a TJ Watt.
But even Bosa is being coached. You know, like he's going off
schematically. It has to look better. There has to be something schematically.
I'll take it to another level. Okay, when you watch our defensive ends, okay, our defensive ends, they've got one or two moves. Okay, they're gonna try to beat you inside, or they're gonna try to speed rush. Okay? Do you see anybody using their hands? Do you see anybody butting and jerking? Do you see anybody swimming? Do you see anybody setting up somebody with a step inside to get the tackle leaning inside and then whamming them outside and jumping around? No, you see two moves. Two moves, that's it. Now, the guys on the inside, Fletcher got some movement with him, but he's primarily a power rusher.
But you know what? Everybody kind of started figuring out how to play Fletcher, especially when he started playing tight three techniques. When Fletcher is more, because he has his inside foot back. So when he has his inside foot back, he has to take two steps before he can engage the player. So now, you know, they knew that if he was a tight outside shade, the guards are just going to jump him. Now, when he started getting a little bit more creative is when he moved out a little bit more over the tackle so he can get those steps down, and then now he can get there.
Listen, we need to create a technique camp.
Right?
You and I speak the same language. You know, because think about this. If you can see that, and you play offensive tackle, if you can see that.
Well, I'd rather be on the defensive side of the ball because I love looking at offensive linemen and we can pick it apart.
I get that. But if you can see that, you ain't telling me that these defense coordinators that get paid millions of dollars aren't picking that up every single week?
No, they don't understand it. They don't understand where it's okay. If 9 times out of 10, if they're in a gun formation, then the back side is going to be man and the slide side is going to be opposite of the back. So, you know, why run a TE to the slide side? You got the center coming to it. That's going to make it too easy to switch it off. You want to run your games a TE to the man side. And then you need to look at, all right, is the tackle a vertical setter or is he a 45 setter? Then now you base your games off of the way he sets. What's the point of me running a TE against a vertical setting tackle where the tackle is coming out and then the end is coming out? If he's vertical setting the guard setting 45, it makes it easier for him to bump it off. So now if he sets out, then now you can run those T's because you can pick and then you bump off this inside hip. But, you know,
this football 101 is great. Are you kidding me?
We haven't even talked about the wide receivers.
We talking about them. We started talking defense. Like I like, you know, I'm gonna throw you this, okay? Just to switch sides of the balls for a minute, okay? When you look at our wide receivers and our tight ends, okay, they don't set up their routes at all. They just run routes. Yeah.
So as a defender, it's easy for me to cover them because if Zach Ertz has got a 5-yard out, okay, he's just running it out. Okay, he don't ever press the guy in, stem him inside, get him to lean inside, then jab and come outside. None of our that's why our wide receivers can't create space because they don't have any kind of stem in their route and they don't set up their route. So Carson's sitting in the pocket, lined up at 4 yards, gets the snap, takes 2 steps back. He's 6 yards back all the time. When you look at Russell Wilson in play action pass, where is he? He's 9 yards deep sometimes. So now if there's any kind of push in the middle, there's the pocket just collapses around him. And he's always being hit. Why? Because our wide receivers cannot create space. Okay, the only guys that's creating space sometimes is the running backs coming out of the backfield. Other than that, we're just running routes, and it's so easy for defenders and man-to-man coverage to cover guys. You know, when you just run a route with no stem and no route setup.
And to make matters worse, they drop the ball when it gets there.
Yeah, you're leading the league in drops, so that doesn't help.
Not at all.
And then, like, when you getting pressed up the middle like that, everybody knows if you put a 50-man front and you put a nose guard over Kelsey, he's going to give up so much. You're going to get pushed.
Pocket's going to collapse.
Yeah, and then if Isaac, if he starts setting like a guard, like setting like a tackle, sometimes he sets back. You have to be firm at that center and guard position. Because when you look at the offensive line, when you looking at the pocket, you want the center and guard. They control the depth of the pocket, and your tackles control the width of the pocket. So I can't have my guard setting like a tackle because then now you're going to get picked apart with all the games. And then, hell, if he get bull rush, he's already in the quarterback's lap. And you better be able to punch. You can't be out there being a grabber because if you you see how he got beat with an inside move on one of those sacks where the dude just came up, gave him a clean inside move. Well, you end up grabbing. You got to punch, man. That's coaching, though. That's something that you have to be taught that.
These position coaches stink is what I'm gathering from all of this intel.
He's Trey Thomas. That's Everett Terry. I'm Scott Seidenberg. It's Hit 'em High with Seth Joyner, brought to you by Kingsmar Cabinets. And before we get to Seth's whiteboard work, I want to talk to you guys about the Help Us Adopt organization. Let's welcome in one of their board members, Courtney Lawless, who's going to tell us a little bit about what exactly is the Help Us Adopt organization. Courtney, what is Help Us Adopt organization?
Hi, Scott. Thanks for having me. So Help Us Adopt is a financial grant program that helps couples and individuals with the high cost of adopting a child. So we provide grants of up to $15,000 to help couples really afford the $40,000 to $60,000 that it can cost to adopt a child.
That's amazing. And we are going to contribute as well this month for our Sharing is Caring. Every share that you guys do for these episodes for this month of November is going to go towards the Help Us Adopt organization. We're going to donate for every share. Where can fans go for more information?
Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We're at Help Us Adopt. Since November is National Adoption Month, all the shares we get is helping us build families.
The Help Us Adopt organization at great cost. Thank you so much, Courtney.
Thanks, guys.
Now let's head to the whiteboard where Seth's going to talk to us about why the eyes are so important.
The eyes are such a major key in the game of football. I would submit to you that 9 times out of 10, we're watching our wide receivers. Watching our wide receivers struggling catching the ball. And a lot of why they're struggling catching the ball is because their eyes aren't fixated on the ball. They're peripherally seeing the ball, okay? But they're looking around to see who's around, and once you take your eye off the ball, you lose the benefit of hand-eye coordination. That's just on the offensive side of the ball. Let's talk on the defensive side of the ball, okay? The first play I want to talk about is the long pass to Gabriel yesterday. So you got Malcolm Jenkins lined up right here. Rodney dropped down in the box here, and Gabriel with Jalen Mills over top, he runs this deep over route. And Jalen is trailing him on the outside. Now at the top of the route, he gives Jalen a little stutter right here, and that kind of freezes Jalen out here, okay? Malcolm has his eyes on the quarterback, okay? And I'm positive by the posture of Jalen Mills on the outside that Malcolm was supposed to be over top of this route, okay? But because his eyes are fixated on the quarterback, instead of understanding what's going on around him, he gets frozen. He gets frozen. Jalen gets frozen for a minute. Gabriel creates space, and you got this long ball that's caught way over here, okay? Bad eyes by Malcolm. Not only bad eyes, but not understanding what his responsibility is supposed to be, okay? In the run game, let's take it to another level, and why our linebackers at times struggle, okay? I've always said, this guy, the quarterback, and this guy, the running back, are the biggest liars for the eyes of defenders on the entire field. Consider this, okay? If I want to run a handoff this way, okay, tell me why the quarterback reverses out to hand the ball this way, okay? He's reversing out because he knows that these two guys are undisciplined with their eyes. And the minute that he reverses out, because they're looking at him, they shouldn't be looking at him. What their key should be is the uncovered offensive lineman, because the linemen never lie to you where the ball is going. Now, there's some key breakers, but 90% of the time, The linemen tell you whether it's run or pass, what direction the play is going, okay? The linemen aren't going to step this way if they're trying to run this way. Doesn't make any sense. But because they're looking at the quarterback and the quarterback reverses out, what do? They step this way, okay? And when they step this way, they create angles. So you get the double team here. He comes off. Now he's got the angle to cut off, okay? He just turns out. Now you got a running lane right here, all because he took himself out of the play with bad footwork and bad eyes, okay? Same thing with this guy. Double team. Combo, he's going to work up and cut him off. Now you got both linebackers out of position, and the only guy that's here to make this play is this free safety, okay? Or this nickel. And trust me, he don't want none of that smoke, okay? So the game is so much more about the eyes and how your eyes have been trained to understand what's going on in a football game, okay? And it's not just the Philadelphia Eagles linebackers. I see this across the league all the time. Even Jalen Mills, as he began to feather off on this route, his eyes were on the quarterback. I'm like, if you got this guy man-to-man, okay? I said it before, I'll say it again. I don't care what this guy is doing. If that's my man, my only concern is to be as close to that man as I possibly can. Because if the ball's in the air, his eyes are going to be as big as saucers. Now you can make a play on the ball. But if you're trying to look at this guy while you're covering that guy, and that guy's faster than you, it's a wrap, baby. It's a wrap.
Listen, I'm going to lead off with a couple of things, and I'm going to get it right here and say it. In the last few weeks, we've had Hollis Thomas, Trey Thomas, Fred Barnett, Seth Joyner. If anybody has watched these shows and agrees that all four of those guys should be position coaches for the Eagles, share this show. Okay, you can take Fred for the wide receivers, Seth for the linebackers, Trey Thomas for the offensive linemen,
no, I want
and
to be on
Hollis
the
for the
defensive
defensive
side
line.
of the ball.
Well, then there it is. Sorry, Hollis, we ain't got nothing for you.
Side of the ball.
You hate the Dolphins anyway. So.
How much of that, as you point to the eyes and the way that whether it's the safeties or the linebackers that are giving away the play, how much of that is discipline versus maybe over-aggression? They're over-aggressive. They're trying to make a play. They're trying to jump a route. They're trying to jump a running back, and they're losing their lane discipline because of that, and that's why you find linebackers out of position when they're blocked.
Well, listen, a lot of that is coaching. You know, I can remember, you know, when I first got in the league, we'd walk through blocking schemes all the time. You know, you get the second-team defensive line and the second-team linebackers, and they line up, and we wouldn't run plays or anything. We would just walk through blocking scheme. They would show you, okay, this is the double team. This is how the guy's going to try to come off on the double team. This is a puller, okay? I need to get to the puller. I wish I would have put the puller up. But if I'm reading that guard on the backside and they block back as an offensive lineman and that guy pulls, if my eyes are on him, I'm in a hole before he even gets there. That's coaching. And I get it. Sometimes, you know, you don't have the time, you know, to go over these types of things because practice time is limited nowadays. It's a lot different than when I played, but I would be
foundation, though.
I would have to say that there are a lot of coaches who don't know that.
Exactly.
Okay, there's a lot of coaches that don't know that, and a coach can't teach you something that he doesn't know. So a lot of times, players' development, players' ability to get better is linked to their coach's knowledge of the game and his ability to teach you and show you how to play the game at the highest level, you know. So when you're looking at the wrong things, you don't know any better because your coach don't know any better.
And I think that's one of the problems that you've had with this coaching staff is player development. There haven't been many players I think you've had some talented players come in, but you don't see anybody that's been developed and made into that all pro player.
The most fundamentally sound player on the defensive side of the ball. Okay, think about this. The most fundamentally sound players, okay? Malcolm Jenkins came from somewhere else. Rodney McLeod came from somewhere else. Avonte Maddox came here with the abilities. His abilities far outsees any cornerback that we have or any cornerback that we've drafted. And I'm telling you right now, he had it when he got here.
Okay.
So somebody in college, somebody in high school taught him the fundamentals of the game. Now, personally, I like him outside. I thought that he earned the right to be a starter on the outside one place or the other. They have a need at the nickel position, so they put him inside. okay? But everybody clamored and made a big deal of the fact that when he was forced back outside a couple of weeks ago when he got hurt, that, oh, he looked terrible. Well, if you've been playing on the inside, that's a far cry different. That's like asking you, Trey, to move from the left side over to the right side.
Yeah, it's a totally different game, yeah.
Well, Trey Thomas is our special guest for this episode of Hit 'em High with Seth Joyner, presented by Kingsmark Cabinets. And you got something going on with the Pinos Palette in South Jersey. Look, these places are awesome, guys. I've been to them. It is a great time. Tell us what you're doing with them.
Oh, well, yeah, it's a paint and sip, something that my wife wanted to get involved with. And so we opened it, I think it's going on about 3 years now. So it's a paint and sip. So you just come in, you go on our website, pinospalette.com. You pick out which painting you want to look at our calendar. See if it's something that you want to do. You come in, you bring whatever you want to drink, and bring whatever snacks you want, and we have an artist that'll walk you through it. I like to paint now. It's something that I like to do. It kind of helps relax me a little bit. So, I'm working on a couple paintings now at the house. So it's just something that we really enjoy doing, man. I pop open a bottle of wine, go sit in the basement and paint, or else I go to my studio and paint. It's cool. It's just something different, man. I really enjoy it, though. It's fun.
Where do you get your inspiration from?
I like landscapes. I'm personally like landscapes, just because, if you mess up a tree, all right, that's a branch. There you go. You just keep moving.
Nothing like those Bob Ross videos, man.
Exactly.
Happy trees, happy clouds.
And Bob Ross was a Marine, man.
Yeah,
drill sergeant. But yeah, man. It's what we enjoy doing. It's cool, cooler setup. So anytime we do mobile events as well. So we go to people's homes, we go to wineries, we go to breweries. It's something fun, though. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome. Check it out, pinospalette.com. Let's go around the league now. Some of the things that we saw in Week 9 yesterday, and we got to talk about a couple of zeros that went away.
There it is.
No wins for the Dolphins. Now they got one win. No losses for the Patriots. Now they got one loss for the Patriots.
Worth talking about?
No, I just want to bring it up.
What do you mean they weren't talking about? Of course they weren't talking about.
You know what they did? All they did was
lose their chances at the number one pick.
They went from a 66% chance of getting the number one overall down to like a 52% chance.
That's okay.
That was just stupid to win that game.
All right.
Yesterday.
Listen, we wanted to beat Adam Gase because he ruined us. We wanted to let the Jets know now he's your problem, and we did what we were supposed to do. Ryan Fitzpatrick said, I played for the Jets. They stunk when I was there. Now I play for Miami. They stink too, but I'm going to get this win.
You're still going to get your quarterback because when the Jets have the number one overall pick, they're going to take Chase Young. They'll still get your quarterback.
We're still going to get Justin Herbert. That's it. That's all I care about.
That's got to be tough to be in an organization that's in that type of situation. How do you get yourself up every week to go out there and battle knowing that you're trying to throw it?
Well, here's the thing. I tell people this all the time. And you watch that Dolphins team, right? There's no such thing as tanking. The organization might not put the best roster on the field.
Right.
They might not put their players in the best position to succeed.
But just
every player to a man is busting their ass out there to get a victory.
Well, let's be honest. Let's be honest about the whole tanking thing, okay? The players never tank.
Exactly.
Now, the players on the Sixers didn't tank. Sam Hinkie tanked.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
He just had bad players that couldn't compete. Okay? So
now,
the situation is no different with Miami or the Jets, okay? Look at the fire sales that go on around these teams, the players that they let go.
Yeah.
Okay, when you minimize the talent on your team, that's an organizational tank. But the players in football is the last sport in the world that you can tank at. Because somebody's trying to take your head off every single day. And somebody's challenging your manhood every single Sunday, every single play. There ain't a guy that's been playing football ever since you was old enough to play that's going to go out there and be like, okay, go ahead and block me. Go ahead and blow me up. Go ahead and sack our quarterback and make us look bad on national TV. No, it's an organizational thing that they got going on.
That's what I'm saying. You can get rid of your number one wide receiver, your number one running back, your starting left tackle, but that doesn't mean that Kalen Ballage is not trying to get a first down when he runs the ball. No. These guys are just not starters in the NFL. The organization may be tanking, but don't disrespect these players by saying that the team is actually trying to lose these games. Let's talk about the Patriots losing to the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson and company ran all over them last night, and I think showed you the formula that the Eagles need to parlay into a victory over the Patriots.
Well, they weren't the ones that showed the formula. It was Cleveland Browns that showed the formula last year.
They kept fumbling.
They showed you all right, we can run. You can run on this team, and now leading up to this, that was the number one defense across the board going into this. But, they showed that that's their kryptonite. You can run on them, so, you got to go out there and get physical with them.
And I think to challenge their secondary, I don't think there's a cornerback in the league playing better than Stephon Gilmore right now. That's going to be a challenge in a couple of weeks.
Definitely tips his hat on that one.
When the Eagles have to go up against him, you might just have to stay away from him all game.
You know what the problem is with The problem with New England is they're just not that good up front.
Yeah, the offensive line is struggling.
Well, I'm talking about
on the defensive side.
That's part of it, and we'll go over there in a second. But when you look at them defensively, they've been doing it with smoke and mirrors. Okay? When you play the soft schedule that they played to begin, now all of a sudden you're playing against teams, that are more refined teams. When you look at them defensively, they're slow across the front. They like big bodies. They don't really have a premier pass rusher. They just will not pay a premier pass rusher, so they don't have one. Okay, they got average guys that every once in a while has good games. Winovich, Van Noy. They brought back Jamie Collins, who's been playing well for them, but they're actually playing him inside rather than outside. They don't have the speed at linebacker to cover backside of the backfield. Time and time again, Hightower just got worked. Just got worked last night. So when you can run the ball, that's going to put your coverage in the secondary at a deficit, because now you're always scrambling on the back end because you don't know. I mean, you look at that game plan was masterful that they came out with yesterday. We're going to run the ball. We're going to run options. We're going to run speed options. We're going to run RPOs. They ran everything. I mean, Lamar Jackson was out there faking out the cameraman.
We'll do that.
It was unbelievable what you saw, But Bill Belichick, in pure Belichick fashion, rallied the troops, got them together, made the adjustments, but on the offensive side of the ball is where they're hurting the most. I guess Wynn is back healthy, but wasn't active yesterday. So they'll move him back in at left tackle. That'll solidify the offensive line a little more. But you can talk about Tom Brady not being, what Tom Brady was. But at the end of the day, if he doesn't have protection, if he can't go through his progressions, then no, he's not. And then when you got the type of defense like the Baltimore Ravens, how many other teams play defense like that? There are not that many teams in the NFL that can play. I mean, you got secondary guys across the board that were willing to get up in people's face and challenge them at the line of scrimmage. They blitzed Tom Brady. Nobody blitzes Tom Brady. They came after him incessantly last night. They was just not going to allow him to sit in the pocket and be comfortable. Now, if you ain't got the kind of cover guys that they have, you a fool to try to do that to Tom Brady because he'll hurt you. And the last point is, if I was Bill Belichick and I was if I was Robert Kraft, I'd get on the private jet this morning, and wherever Rob Gronkowski is, I'd go call him. I'd go pay him a visit.
This is the time of the season, right?
I'd pay him a visit, and I'd be like, dude, you got to come back, because that offense is not the same without him. I don't care what anybody says. Mohamed Sanu was a good pickup, but listen, they don't have that guy. They don't have that guy where they can just say, hey, we need 3 yards, and we're going to throw it to Gronk.
Just get in the air.
And if we don't throw it to Gronk, then you know what? Then Edelman's going to be one-on-one with his option routes. But they bracketed him, and they doubled him last night, and they took him away in crucial situations last night. And he had nobody else to go to.
We'll see how they look when N'Keal Harry actually plays, because that kid, even though he's a rookie, is a physical beast. So we'll see what he does.
Don't fall
good in the preseason.
Don't fall asleep, because we've seen this movie before. Last year, they got took apart by the Kansas City Chiefs early in the season last year, and everybody's like, "Oh, the evil empire is dead." No.
Man,
they figured out a way, and I'm telling you right now. Listen, the Super Bowl in the AFC still at this moment has to go through New England. Okay, and if they're the number 1 seed, and let's say that Kansas City gets back and they're the number 2 seed, okay. What's going to wind up happening is the Baltimore Ravens is going to have to play Kansas City. Even if they beat Kansas City, they're not going to New England late in the season and beating New England again. I can tell you, Bill Belichick has got the film. He's got everything he needs to break down, and he's going to have enough time to break it down and come up with a way to take away all of that stuff, man. Listen, last night was the anomaly. Last night was the wake-up call that we good, but we're not as good as we thought we were, and we got to get better. And if there's one guy that you would count on to make that adjustment, Bill Belichick.
Yeah. And we're going to see it in a couple of weeks. The Eagles have a nice week off to rest and get ready for Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots. A reminder to share this episode, because for every share we donate $1 this month. Our charity is the Help Us Adopt organization. It's National Adoption Month, so be sure to share across all social media platforms, because it all goes to a great cause. When we return, we're going to hear story time with Trey, but first, this word from Park.
What a night.
The new Parks Casino $10 million sportsbook changes everything. It's a whole new ballgame at Parks Casino. Watch every single game and sporting event you want on our custom-built 154-foot wide, $1.5 million screen, capable of showing 36 events at once. Bet all the hot action and enjoy tap after tap of amazing craft beer, cocktails, and pub food favorites. Your entire game day destination is here for you and your friends. Sportsbook, beer garden, and Liberty Bell Gastropub. Parks Casino. Bet with the best.
It's Hit 'em High with Eagle great Seth Joyner, Scott Seidenberg, and Everett Terry here. Our special guest this week is Trey Thomas, former Philadelphia Eagle great, former Florida State Seminole, and he's got a story for us this week.
So it's story time. All right. So, I've been doing radio now with 97.5 now for a year, working with the morning show with Mark Farzetta, and they always, when it comes to doing live reads, that was something I was a little nervous about when I first started the business, just because, I wanted to make sure that I had it down tight. I didn't want to get in there fumbling. So it started out with me doing Blue Chew reads, where they were like, hey, man, here's a Blue Chew, which is a chewable Viagra. So they were like, hey, man, just get creative with the read, go as far as you can without getting kicked off the air. So I was like, all right, cool. Hey, say no more. So I came up with some different creative little reads or whatever. It created a nice little buzz. So, we had this new company come to me called Manscaped.
Yeah.
It is. So they were like, okay, which is they made this new razor, the Lawnmower 2.0. That's an anti-nut snag. You know what I'm saying? So they were like, well, listen, we want somebody that can do a commercial for us, but we need them to be creative and come up with some stuff that's going to be a little edgy. So they went to our sales manager, and our sales manager was like, she read kind of a little bit of the script, and she was like, oh, I got somebody for y'all. I got the person for you. So they played one of my Blue Chew reads, and then Manscaped was like, all right, yeah, we definitely want to go with him. So they gave me the script, and they were like, look, man, just here you go. Just talk about what it does. It's an anti-nut snagging machine that's not going to snag your nuts. Also, too, we have the ball toner, where it's a crop reviver that tones your balls, and also you have the crop reviver, which is it's a deodorant anti-chafing.
Important.
Yeah,
important
for your balls. So because you got to make sure that you keep your deodorant.
Can you do the read? Go ahead.
Yeah, do the read. I don't want to do the read. I can't do the read. You can post this on my social media, but that was just, it was cool. It was something that I put out there last weekend, that was it, man. And it was funny.
Can you help a brother out? Can I get some
product? I got you.
I can't do the read, but can you help a brother out with some of the product?
Oh, yeah, I got you. Yeah.
Hey, I have it. And I'm not just the president. I'm also a client.
Oh, yeah. You with the Manscaped? Yeah, it's cool. Like the razor, it doesn't nick you,
It is.
And then when you go with that, you got to put the deodorant and, you get the toner. I'm presenting beautifully. I got the smoothest nuts in the land. I'm presenting beautifully right now,
I thought the name of this show was Hit 'em High.
Like Aguilar.
Wow.
Well, you know what? Before we get out of here, again, we want to thank you, Trey, for coming on here and sharing that story. That was one hell of a story.
Too much information.
Before we get out of here, we want to again thank King Smart Cabinets, one of our sponsors for this show. We also want to tell you guys to remember to keep sharing the show as it goes toward Help Us Adopt, which is a fantastic program helping families looking to offset the cost of adopting children. From all of us here at Hit 'em High, thank you for watching right here at My New Philly, where something's always new and everything's always Philly.